Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Are you looking through your prepper pantry and your food storage stockpile? Perhaps finding a random can and trying to decide, what can I do with this? What even is it? Did I buy it by mistake? Or was I supposed to bring it home, check it out, and if I like it, go back and get more? Well, one of the foods that I have in my pantry that you might have in yours is Glory seasoned Southern style red beans and rice. And it seems like, well, rice and beans, that's easy to prepare, but this is so simple because it's already completely prepared. The beans and the rice are cooked together in a nice smoky flavored sauce. They're slow simmered with some hickory smoke flavoring, and it's a Southern style of rice and beans, and it's really quite delicious. But if you've never tried it, let me show you 3 different ways that I use the cans of red beans and rice. My belief is that the foods that you have in your pantry should be foods that you're willing to use, rotate, and replace. And so you don't want foods you don't know what they are. You don't want foods with no idea what to do with them. You want foods that are you like enough that you're willing to eat them occasionally. And if you don't like them, don't get them again. But if you see something you've never tried before, like the red beans and rice, you can buy one, take it home and try it, and if you like it, you can always go back and get more. But don't buy a whole bunch of something you've never tried to find out that you don't like it. Let's go ahead and open up this can of Glory seasoned red beans and rice, and I'll show you 3 different ways that I prepare it for a meal. When you open the can, you might be surprised to see a lot of liquid. So we know that we need to pour it into something to heat it up, and you can simply heat it in the microwave. So I'm going to pour it into a glass dish. And there you can see, it comes right out of the can. There's lots of beans, there's some flavorful sauce, and lots of rice that's already plump and fully cooked. So if you were in dire straits, you could eat it just like this without heating it up because it's fully cooked. But it's going to taste better if you can heat it up. So let's heat it in the microwave. I heated my Glory seasoned Southern style red beans and rice, and you can see it absorbs some of the liquid, but there's still plenty of it there, and it is quite a flavorful sauce. So the first thing you can do, serve it into a dish, and you can see how it's got that creamy sauce. So it's going to help fill you up and give you some of the liquid that you need, which it's always nice when you have a spicy sauce in your beans. And then I'm simply going to sprinkle it with some marbled cheddar because I think beans and rice taste great with cheese, but that's optional. Maybe you want to add onions or sour cream depending on what you have, or if you have nothing at all, you can still have them just like that. So let's go ahead and try the Glory red beans and rice. It's tasty. It wouldn't be the best rice and beans you ever had, but it would certainly be something you could put a meal on the table in 2 minutes. That's how long I heated it in the microwave. And when you consider that it's inexpensive, it can be on your shelf in the pantry, and you can have it whenever you need a quick meal that's cheap, easy, and fast. That's some of the benchmarks of having emergency food. So this is tasty. It's definitely smoky flavored. It's not sweet at all. If you've ever had Southern style beans, this is exactly what they taste like. So it's good. The rice is nicely prepared and the beans are soft. Let's go ahead now and let me show you another way that I like to use the Glory red beans and rice. The second way I like to serve the Glory seasoned red beans and rice is to turn them into a burrito. And I use a slotted spoon because I don't want all the juice in my burrito because it can make it too runny and sloppy. So I just put some of the red beans and rice onto the tortilla, and then I open up a small can of chicken, and then I drain it out, and then I sprinkle some of the chicken meat over the beans and rice. And you can break it up if you need to spread it out. Then I like to sprinkle it with some cheese, shredded cheese, and I add a little bit of hot sauce. You can use any kind you like. I just happen to like the Taco Bell mild sauce, so I'm going to sprinkle that over this. You can use as much or as little as you like, and the hot sauce changes it from Southern style more into a Mexican burrito type flavor, and I think it's very good. Then you could even add greens or chopped tomatoes or anything else that you have fresh, and then you just roll it up. So I rolled up my burrito and it's delicious. Yummy. This is one of my favorite ways to use the Glory red beans and rice. It's a little sloppy, but it's delicious. The third way that I use the Glory red beans and rice is to stuff them in a pepper. When you want to stuff a bell pepper, you just choose one that's firm and fresh, and then you want to cut off the top and clean out the membranes and the seeds. And then if it doesn't sit quite straight and level, if one of the bumps is a little too big, carefully cut off a little bit of it so that you don't cut all the way through, but that you level it off so that it's more even. So you want to rinse out any of the seeds that remain and then just scrape off some of the membrane. Anything that's extra, just scrape that off. Then you can see this one doesn't want to sit level. So I'm just going to give a little trim on the bottom. And now he'll stand up better. Now these need to be covered when you bake them, so I like to use a deep dish that has a cover that fits, and then I want to put a tomato base sauce on the bottom. I'm using tomato soup, just as it is, condensed tomato soup. If you don't have that, you could use tomato sauce. I spray my dish so nothing sticks. Then I'm going to cover the bottom with some of the tomato soup. Gives it a nice flavorful base. Now I'm going to fill my pepper with the red beans and rice, and I'm again going to use the slotted spoon. I don't want it too juicy and messy. And you can fit a lot in here. So I figure it makes about 2 peppers per can if you fill them up quite a lot. And then you're just going to set it in here. I'm just making one right now because I've used up the rest of the red beans and rice with my other recipes. So there's still, you can see there's still a lot because I had some in a bowl, I made some into a burrito, and there's still plenty of it to put into the pepper. Then I'm going to spoon a little of the sauce over the top. I'm going to cover it, and if you don't have a cover for your dish, just cover it with foil. And I'm going to put it in a 325-degree oven for about 35 minutes until the pepper is cooked through and everything is hot and delicious. Something I like to do when I buy an organic pepper is I just scrape out the seeds, I lay them out to dry on a paper towel, and then I can plant them in the spring. So that's a great way to add to your seed stockpile and to have extra food. You have a source if you can grow your own. You can only buy and store so much, and then you're going to have to start figuring out how to grow some yourself. Here's my pepper. I roasted it for about 40 minutes, and then it's been sitting for a few minutes, and look at that. Kind of got soft and tipped over, and you can make sure it's heated all the way through if you use your meat thermometer. And you can see, yes, it's definitely hot. Yummy. Your filling should be hot, your pepper should be soft. See how it's soft? Yum. Put it in a dish, spoon some more of the sauce over it. You could sprinkle it with cheese if you want. And your stuffed pepper with Glory seasoned red beans and rice is ready to serve. When you pick out a variety of foods for your prepper pantry and your food storage stockpile, make sure you have ideas of how you're going to use it. Don't just buy random ingredients. Think about the different ways that you can use the foods that you buy, and then make sure that you do use, rotate, and replace. I have Amazon links in my description below, and if you ever order on Amazon, if you click on my link and then shop, It doesn't cost you anymore, but it provides a little bit of revenue, which helps support my channel. Let us know other ways that you use foods that you have in your pantry that might be surprising, unexpected, and delicious. I hope you'll like my video, share it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.